Hi everyone, my name is Pooja Chaudhary. I've been spending the last few weeks in Peepal Farm as a volunteer. Peepal Farm is a stray animal rescue and an awareness organization near Dharamshala in Himachal Pradesh, which works towards animals to heal and be heard. Today, I'm so fortunate to have with me Robin Singh, the founder of this organization. Thank you so much, Robin, for agreeing to do this interview with me. So, for a quick introduction, Robin quit his glamorous tech career in the US to return to India and establish this foundation that works for the benefit of animals as well as empowers rural women. Through my experience here, I can truly say that it's a safe haven for animals, and the animals here feel very comfortable and they really trust the people who are taking care of them. So, I would like to start the interview by congratulating you first, Robin. People's Farm is going to complete 10 years in about a week, December 9th.
Yeah, few days, yeah,
Yes,
actually.
it's through the videos, I understand that you started this journey almost a decade back because you were not fully happy with the life you were leading back then, and you were seeking more to life.
Hmm.
So, in the last 10 years, how have you felt about putting those pieces together?
Yeah, the life I quit that because I wasn't happy. And I came to India to seek happiness. I didn't come to do animal welfare or anything grand, anything big. It was in that, it was an 18-month exploration where I realized that there is the happiness the way I see it doesn't exist. And I stumbled across purpose because I met somebody who was taking care of a lot of dogs, and she didn't have anything physically, materially, and she was still giving, giving, giving. And that made me feel a little ashamed of myself and also reminded me of the values my mom had given me, but I had chosen to ignore. So that's when I got on the path of purpose, gave up on the pursuit of happiness. Now, started doing that led me to starting People Farm after another year and a half. And then after running People Farm for a few years, I realized, it was kind of a creeping realization, there was no white light or music, that I feel very satiated. I felt content.
Right.
And I realized, that's the happiness, probably what I wanted and couldn't define back then.
Right. So in the last 10 years, you've been able to feel that and continue to feel content with
Yeah,
what
not
you're doing.
every single moment,
Okay.
but I see it more as, when you learn to ride a bike,
Right.
doesn't mean you're never gonna fall, but
Right.
then you're gonna pick it up and get back on it because
Right.
now you know how to do it.
Yeah.
So I think of happiness not as a perpetual state, but as an acquired skill, as a way to be.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your experience on that. So there are a lot of people who turn a blind eye to the realities of, for example, the dairy and the meat industries. And, as they say, ignorance is bliss. Do you really feel ignorance is bliss?
I agree, ignorance is bliss.
And but what could we do? What could be done to change the mindset of people who might feel blissful, but it's actually not helping the environment and the suffering of animals?
See, it's much easier to amplify an idea than to plant one, है ना? So the battle I have picked is, there's a lot of people, because I used to eat meat, I used to consume dairy. I wasn't a horrible person, and even after I quit eating meat, I kept consuming dairy for another, I think, 2 decades. And so there are a lot of people who don't realize that their actions are causing pain. There are people who have this idea that I don't want to cause pain, but have forgotten that belief. Or there are people who remember their belief, who also know that their actions are causing pain, but somehow they have, you know,
Disconnect.
they have this disconnect which causes cognitive dissonance, but then they take care of it by embracing a myth. By, if we don't eat chickens, if we don't eat hens, the world will be run over by hens. So they come. So I choose to address these lowest hanging fruit
Right.
people. But I don't think this is the end all be all.
Yeah.
This is the least I can do.
And when you look back, do you ever feel that if you did not know what the reality was of, of suffering in these different industries, it would have been better for you?
No,
No. Yeah.
no. It's like because then I would not have lived according to my belief. My priority is I want to be a good person, and I couldn't live according to that belief if I am living in ignorance. Also, that bliss, that ignorance is bliss, doesn't last
Long.
forever.
Right.
So eventually, people come face to face with reality, but it's too late. You'll see a lot of people who, like, they are, take example of Indian parents. They have this societal template that they follow. They marry, they produce kids, they force the kids to be like replicas of themselves. Eventually, the kids leave and they're like, what
What?
do we do now? मेरा बेटा मुझे phone नहीं करता. It's like, screw that.
Right. Yeah. No, thank you so much for your, insight on that with your personal own journey. Um, so the next question I have is around the aspect that much often when we initiate, or when we feel towards a social initiative, or we want to start something around that, we feel singled out. We feel like we are. I remember when I went vegan, and it's around 8 years back, when I was telling people, I somehow felt that it was me against a lot of people who would not listen to me because it was not easy for them, and it was culturally or socially not acceptable or not encouraged to think the way I was thinking about not using these products. When you turned vegan, and after that, when you arrived here, bought this land and tried to put everything together, did you ever feel like you were alone in this?
Yeah, there are a couple of things, more than a couple. One, whatever I say right now won't be fully accurate because our emotional memories are not that great. So I can say, yeah, no, I didn't feel like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Two, when we started, Shivani was there. I also had a friend from US, Joe. She was one of the co-founders. So we were already three people. Three is just some people have a personality where they just don't care what anybody else says, and probably like because the way my career started was like I just couldn't really care what others thought of me.
Right. Okay. So that really helped you out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or maybe it made doing things that I did, it made them easy.
Right. And, to just add to that, you've built a community of people here who really align with the values that, I think Shivani ma'am, and the founders agreed on. And we see the respect that they have towards animals and how animals really are so comfortable in their presence. How did you build or bring this community together?
It wasn't like, it's not something we did. It's what you'd call an emergent phenomena. So there's a goal that we have in mind. We have to reduce suffering. We picked two ways we want to do it. We want to help animals, the injured animals we see. We want to do awareness, right? So of course, to do this on a scale, you need people. So we bring people. So we are selective about the people we bring, and when all these people come together at Peepal Farm, of course, the whatever community you experience, it emerges. But I would still say it's not a tight knit community. It's a very loosely woven community with people not agreeing on a lot of things, and that is intentional. I don't want there to be a doctrine or people to congregate around. I don't want this to become a cult of
Right.
personality because I hate the culture of following a person. I like people following principles.
Right. That makes sense. And was it was it okay being accepted around with the being accepted by the local communities around? Because in India, dairy is an integral part of a lot of households. So when you talked about this to the people around you, to the villagers or volunteers, dog, cat lovers who used to visit you. Did you see resistance to what you were creating here, and how did you deal with that?
I didn't talk to them about it. That's the thing, because see, people who are producing dairy, there's no incentive for me to talk to them because they have a very strong motivator, money.
Right.
It's very hard to argue with money.
Right.
So I talk to consumers and I do it via video. So those
Yeah.
people are all over India. They're not necessarily here. Now, the volunteers who came, initially when we started, there were no videos. It was only the volunteers who were getting aware, but we didn't talk to them directly. They would brush a cow, they would brush a dog, and they would realize that both of them feel pain, both of them need help. When I go back home, while I'm adopting a dog, but I'm eating a cow, how does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the ones for whom it was a priority to live according to their own beliefs that we shouldn't be causing suffering, they changed.
So it was you made them experience the connection with animals, and that in some way would have, made
Yeah.
them realize what they could do when they go back.
Yeah, we created a space where they had an opportunity to have that experience. I wouldn't even say made
Okay.
them experience.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of suffering they can witness. There's a lot of beauty here that tempers the suffering, which lets them stay. And rest is between them and God.
Yeah. The next topic I want to touch upon is a fact which is coming up. Meat consumption in the West, in many countries in the West, is on the decline, the per capita meat consumption, while in India, it's continuously rising. And there are some predictions that it would rise 300% in the next 50 years. What do you think is driving this?
Off the top of my head, it's probably because those countries already are क्या कहते हैं संपन्न है. They are
Right.
wealthy countries. They have seen it all, and as the people are getting more aware, it's declining.
Yeah.
Whereas India has this population which is just now coming up, and they're getting the wealth they have wanted, and this is how they know to
Right.
spend it. Also, and I think India has been primarily vegetarian not because people are compassionate towards animals, but because there has been a stronghold of culture and religion, which is gradually weakening.
Okay. And I think you've touched upon it, but what impact do you think this rise in meat consumption would cause on India's, environment?
On the environment, it has to be, it is going to be adverse, of course, because animal agriculture is one of the big contributors of greenhouse gases. So that can't be good. Plus, it uses a lot of water. India anyway has a dire water shortage. I mean, even this winters, this morning I read that Himachal will get less snow.
Okay.
Which means we'll have less water in the summers. So things are looking bad, and this rising meat consumption is definitely not good.
So the next question, Robin, is something that I personally struggle with. All of us have 24 hours in a day, and we have limited energy, limited resources. How do you manage your time? So you do multiple things. You create content to inspire people. You enable and sustain the teams that run the farm in the hospital, as well as you engage with volunteers, such as, right now you agreed to give me some part of your time to do this interview. How do you manage your time doing all of this? And when do you know it's time to disengage and put your resources, or, put your time or energy into something else which you think will cause impact?
So I already keep my day pretty structured. I know, this much time I have to spend with family, with just Shivani. I have to spend this much time working on my health. I have to spend this much time with the resident animals. So all of that is divided, and I have 8 work hours. And between work hours, see, because I only have 8 hours, it's more about priority management than time management.
Right.
So anything I do, I try to run it with a filter of, is it taking me closer to my goal, or is it just a distraction?
Right.
So I'm very utility driven. whether it's something anything I engage in. So that's how I decide my priorities, and then most things are like, what is most time sensitive. But still, I don't think I do a good job of it. I mean, I manage, but I kind of wing it.
Okay.
So I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of stuff also falls through cracks.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, you, of course, you try your best and you try to stick to that.
That's all I can do. I don't beat myself up about it. I'm giving it my best. I'm not cheating on my work. So
Yeah. And are there days where you feel very expended yourself, like your resources, your, personal energy you've expended and you need to re-energize? And how do you do that?
yeah, see, this is something I struggle with. Like, so if I'm feeling low, which I am today, and I see things, I think when I'm low, I see things for what they are. And so it's not about re-energizing myself. It's just waiting to, waiting for a sunny day.
Right.
It was a cloudy day today, and you wait for a sunny day, and then because you have to fool yourself a little to do what you're doing, because my work is rooted in this strong pessimism. I know suffering is always gonna be there. I don't believe in innate human goodness. I think it's all gonna go to hell. Still, I got to do what I got to do because it's better than doing
Nothing.
nothing.
Right. Yeah.
So, and for that, you have to just kind of not see everything, just see a little area, then your little impact seems a little bit bigger.
Right.
For that, you need energy. And so you just wait for the day you have energy.
Yeah, that's a good point. And not to feel guilty about it, but to just rest it out and um,
I don't do, I won't rest it out still. I just do less energy intensive tasks.
okay. Yeah.
Because I do tend to feel guilty if I waste time.
Okay, yeah. Thank you for being so honest and transparent about that. And touching upon prioritization, I want to ask this question for people who strongly feel for the cause and they want to devote their time to it. But there may be a question on how or what are the things they should do. For example, I could be feeding stray animals. I could use my time to feed stray animals, or I could use that time to build content and build a community, try to inspire others with all the knowledge or the learnings that I have. What is the approach someone could take to quantify the impact they would have when they make these choices or decisions?
That's a tough one. How do you quantify? Because how do you quantify something that's going to happen? I I know what I don't like. I can start there. It's like people who just want to inspire, just want to aware. I mean, think of, like, take an example. India was under British rule, and everybody, like, nobody was on the ground doing what needed to be done, but like inspiring others. We would just have a country of inspired slaves.
Right.
So no, I think we should do something on ground. I divide my time. I'm gonna go in broad strokes. I divide my time into living my life in a way that doesn't cause suffering. Of course, that requires some investment of time. I invest my time on doing on ground work. That's why we run a rescue. And then I spend time exposing my lifestyle of not doing bad and doing good to people. So now you have to figure out what is your best good. Is the best thing you can bring to table money? I don't think so, because world doesn't have a shortage of money. World has a shortage of good people. That said, I mean, there are ways to do it. Like, for example, Himachal, you rent a house, right? You start like a homestay.
Right.
People can come, people stay. Like, you guys are staying here. People pay to stay. You say, I'm gonna rescue 6 dogs a month. You don't have to do it
A large
on a
scale.
large scale. You do what you can do. With that little effort, you are also inspiring
Many
others,
Right.
others who don't have resources.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it was such a good talk with you, Robin. Thank you so much for your time today. And I have learned from you so much, and I know how so many of your followers also do. And I hope people who are listening to this are able to, understand from this video how you've, established this safe haven for animals. So,
Thank you for asking all the interesting questions.
thank you. Thank you.